Coming up, Nigel Farage, the perennial agitator of British politics, has a penchant for birthing parties that self-destruct under the weight of his own ego. His latest vehicle, Reform UK, is no exception. Behind the veneer of a party supposedly challenging the British political establishment lies a cesspool of infighting, authoritarianism and a leadership style that has been described by now former Reform MP Rupert Lowe as messianic. In this video, I'll dissect the recent rows that have laid bare the dysfunctionality of Reform UK under Farage's egotistical rule and take a closer look at the deeply troubling sources of the party's finances. Stay tuned. Rupert Lowe, the MP for Great Yarmouth, is perhaps better known as the former chairman of Southampton FC who led the club into administration. He is now at the epicentre of Reform UK's latest scandal, suspended amid allegations of bullying female staff and making threats against party chairman Zia Youssef. The champions of free speech, Farage's gang, even referred Lowe to the police because of his hurty words, and as a result, Lowe is now under police investigation. But don't you dare call these people snowflakes, oh no. Lowe denies all these accusations, calling them a vindictive witch hunt orchestrated by Farage to quash any semblance of dissent within the ranks. He accuses Farage of treating Reform UK as a protest party led by the Messiah, alleging a leadership style that tolerates no opposition and which completely stifles internal debate. Farage's leadership of Reform UK has been by a top-down approach that guarantees his monopoly of power and shuts out alternative voices. The party's structure, a limited company with Farage holding a majority stake, underscores this autocratic setup. Although there have been promises and even some moves to restructure the party, the reins of control remain firmly in Farage's hands, with him and Youssef as the key figures, alongside Richard Tice's wallet. This concentration of power has led to a culture where internal criticism is met with swift retribution. Former allies who dared to challenge Farage's authority, such as Suzanne Evans and Ben Habib, have found themselves ostracised and verbally attacked, confirming appearances of a party and a leader intolerant of dissent. Elon Musk's recent interest in Reform UK has further muddied the waters and added to the controversy. Napoleon, as he's now known, has publicly endorsed Rupert Lowe as his preference as leader rather than Farage, which adds another layer of intrigue and instability within the tiny parliamentary party. Quite why Musk would support a spectacularly unpopular character and failed football club chairman like Lowe to be Prime Minister of a G7 economy, I'm not sure. But the so-called genius Musk is, of course, in many ways a complete idiot.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
While Musk's fandom might fire up support for Lowe from the substantial far-right element of the Reform Party's grassroots, it also exposes fractures within the party and the external influences, not just Musk, vying for influence. I'll return to this issue in a moment, but at the heart of Reform UK's turmoil lies an ideological rift between those advocating for broadening the party's appeal and those pushing for deepening its far-right policies to hold on to and further engage the Tommy Robinson fanboys within their ranks. The Messiah, Farage, positions himself as the moderniser, seeking to expand the party's reach through toning down the rhetoric and softening some of its hard-right policies, while figures like Lowe champion more radical policies that resonate with the party's base, such as his famous passion for mass deportations from the UK. This conflict between broadening and deepening the party's appeal is not unique to Reform UK, but it is particularly problematic given the party's lack of a coherent identity other than as a protest party, just asking questions, to repurpose one of the Messiah's favourite clichés. All of Farage's political vehicles have eventually fallen apart, victim to infighting, which has been more than metaphorical at times, ending in an actual punch-up between two Brexit Party MEPs, and with current Reform UK MP James McMurdoch being convicted of repeatedly kicking his then-girlfriend and receiving a 21-day sentence, the calibre of Farage's associates hasn't changed much since then. Reform UK Party Limited's inability to present a united front, coupled with Farage's domineering leadership, hampers its credibility as a serious political contender as much as its lack of coherent policy positions. The public spectacle of MPs being suspended, allegations of bullying and leadership challenges paints a picture of a party more concerned with internal power struggles than addressing the current global shitshow and its potential impact on the UK. And as I mentioned earlier, there are also people outside the party, like Musk, vying for influence, mainly through donations, either promised or actual. Reform UK's financial health is as turbulent as its internal politics. But before I take a look at the shocking new data about political donations just published for 2024, could I ask you to do me a favour and give this video a like, check that you're subscribed to the channel and share a link on your social media. Membership of the Truth to Power channel is now available, offering various membership perks, and I've put a link below for anyone who's interested in joining our growing list of members. As recently as 2023, Reform UK Party Limited used to rely on substantial donations from the wallet of Richard Tice, who contributed up to 80% of its funding. But a recent New York Times analysis of campaign finance data shows that last year, 2024, there was an influx of funding from fossil fuel investors, climate skeptics and multi-millionaires, raising questions about Reform Party UK Limited's independence and exactly why such people have invested massive sums of money in what was, until recently, just a fringe party full of, to use David Cameron's characterisation, fruitcakes, loonies and closet racists. It seems that these wealthy, mainly overseas investors want to create a UK version of Trump's MAGA movement. I was shocked to read that Reform UK raised £4.75 million last year, a massive increase from the 100 and something thousand it raised in 2023. A sudden 3,000% increase in funding is a striking figure for a party that 8 months ago was on the fringe of national politics, and is a figure that should worry every Brit. So let's take a look at the New York Times findings to see how worried we should be. In 2024, there were 38 donors, wealthy backers who helped drive Reform UK's electoral success. Many of them could gain significantly from its policies if it ever came to power. Take David Lilly, for example, who gave £364,000 to the party. He's an investor in the metals and mining sector, and just one of 13 donors who previously gave to the Conservative Party, and whose donations are highlighted in purple here in this graphic. Around 40%, nearly half of Reform's donations in 2024, came from those who have openly questioned climate change, highlighted here in dark brown, or have investments in fossil fuel or other climate-polluting industries. Those are highlighted in light brown here. Reform UK Party Limited has just so happened to have pledged to abandon key climate targets and to swing the energy sector back towards oil and gas. Just last month, Richard Tice, the Reform MP who almost single-handedly bankrolled the party until last year, said the party would tax solar farms and claimed that renewable energy was a massive con. He also called evidence for man-made climate change garbage. So reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It is Reform's final, most essential command. In total, more than 2/3 of Reform's donations came from millionaires and multi-millionaires highlighted in green here. Yet they pretend to be the party of the working man. Reform UK Party Limited, as populists always do, shifting the blame for the problems suffered by working class people and the less well-off away from the rich oligarchs and blaming immigrants instead, as they always do. And in the same vein, more than half of Reform's donations came from those with homes in low-tax countries countries or with business interests in offshore jurisdictions, highlighted in blue in this graphic here. They donated a combined £2.5 million. The biggest single donation to reform in the last quarter of 2024 came from Roger Nagyoff, a former Conservative donor based in Monaco, yet who was allowed to donate £100,000 to the party in December. There really should be a law against political donations from overseas, shouldn't there? In a LinkedIn post 2 weeks ago, Mr. Nagyoff lamented that the biggest screw-up of the UK was the country losing its wealthy residents and squandering its advantages in a sea of government spending, insane welfare, and mass immigration of the poorest and least adjusted culturally it can find. Sounds like a charming fellow, doesn't he? And talking of charming fellows, another cool $500,000 came from Fiona Cottrell, mother of convicted fraudster George Cottrell, a close aide to Farage himself. And another donation came from Gary Mond, who claimed in a social media post that all civilization is at war with Islam. So, in summary, most of those bankrolling reform in 2024 were climate change skeptics, those with investments in fossil fuels or other climate-polluting industries, and other random multi-millionaires based not in the UK, but in low-tax offshore countries. Which makes it all the more ironic that in its 2024 manifesto, Reform framed itself as an alternative to, and I quote, the out-of-touch political class who have turned their backs on our country. The total raised by all UK parties in 2024 reached an eye-watering £100 million, a figure that I think should concern anyone that doesn't want to see the further Americanisation of British politics. But what do you think? Leave a comment down below.